Good morning, my friends. Well, I'm up a hill. You can see some hills over here in the background. That's, honestly, I'm not even sure what that is. It's my new neighborhood, so I'm currently walking up this road here, which, the funny thing when you look at a video or a picture and you see a slope, you can't really tell how much of a slope it is, but man, I've climbed up a ways. It's about 5:40. I was probably around 6 a.m. now. Woke up this morning at like 3:30, couldn't get back to sleep. Thought about taking a walk, but realized that I live in a place that's pitch black now. I was like, well, I'll just wait until dawn. So I had a cup of coffee and grabbed my trusty bike, my old 80s Hard Rock Specialized, and decided to head up here and kind of see what's up here. And it's just a gravel road that has basically it dead ends like an eighth of a mile in with a giant gate, and it's closed to motor vehicles, but that doesn't stop anybody on motorcycles from finding a way around. So I'm sure that people ride up here all the time, and just to be able to come up here and know that I'm away from people. Oh, I'm gonna sit down for a minute because I'm sore. I'm tired. I've been moving. I've been trying to organize our house and get everything moved in, and turn the camera. Looky there. It's a nice picture. So I'm thinking if I go further up this road here, according to the map, it's like several miles up the mountain, and it follows the river, Lewis River, but it's up the hill instead of down there. So you're separate from the river, but I don't know how far up into the mountains it goes, and I don't want to spend an hour or two going uphill. The truth is, I need my energy today because I have to go move washer and dryer and some other stuff. So I thought it would make more sense to just kind of go as far as I could and head back. But this is the kind of place where I've always dreamed of having just a trail nearby that I could just hike up. Even though it's a clear-cut area, you can tell, but it's coming back. I honestly don't mind that. I love being in an old-growth forest as much as anyone else. Maybe if you're out east, you've never been in a true old-growth forest. But if you make it out to the West Coast, head down to the Redwoods, head up to the Olympics, you'll see some of the biggest damn trees you've seen in your life. But even interspersed out here, even though this area has been logged, there's still a lot of trees remaining, but also a lot of deciduous trees planted after the fact, most likely took over, like maples, oaks. But the train tracks just down the way, I was making a video the other day and I heard this train coming and I was like, wait a minute, I thought these tracks were abandoned. It turns out the tracks in Yakult up here, they called it the Yakult Yakima something line. I was reading about it this morning. It's a non-used train line that they had really high hopes that they would connect it to the Northern Railroad and go out to Yakima, but it never got finished. During the Yakult burn, which was a forest fire, they call it the Yakult burn, but apparently it didn't even hit Yakult. But this Yakult fire back in 1902 took out a lot of forest up here, and there was a frenzy of logging afterwards because, you know, as soon as you've got a forest that's burned out, everybody wants to log what's left as fast as they can. So at that time, they were producing some of the most trees and logs anywhere in the state, and they'd ship it down to the Columbia River. But as soon as those were burned out and there was nothing left to harvest, the line just died. The railroad line just died, and it hasn't been used since then except for this trolley. They call it I think it's not Chehalis, is it? Maybe it's Chehalis trolley. But anyway, it goes, there's like a 13-mile round trip, and they have special events. They do one for Mother's Day, Father's Day, weekend journeys in the summer. But apparently they have one in October that's for the like a Halloween special, but they have one also that's like a fall leaves thing in early October, where you ride along the flatbed on the train. I think it's like $18 a ticket, and it's like a 13-mile round trip where you get to see all the leaves changing. And it made me think about the East Coast, because there's an episode of Family Guy where everybody's worried about the leafers, because every year the leafers come, the people who come to watch the leaves change, who drive, across state. Apparently that's a big thing out in the East because of all the deciduous trees. But as you know, out here we have a lot of evergreens, so it's a different world. I mean, it depends on where you live, obviously. I know the East is a big place. You live out in Maine, you're going to have a lot of similar climates as we do out here. I believe Maine is like, well, there's a Portland, Maine too, but it has a very similar climate, even maybe wetter and colder than here. But I'm basically in southern Washington, so we get a little bit of everything. We get the sun, we get the rain, we get the snow once in a while, but it's a pretty mild climate overall. But just look at this. I doubt you'll be able to see on the video, but I just noticed there's a house right there on the hill. So, I always thought it would be kind of cool, but that reminds me of a story I read this morning, which I'll share with you before I finish here. Up by Seattle, in a community up there. In fact, let's put it this way. There was a place called Cougar Mountain, and a whole bunch of the neighbors who had moved up and bought land and built houses were complaining because there were cougars up there. This tells you the kind of mentality people have. So if you move out into the wilderness, when I move out into a place like this, which is further away from the city, I'm well aware that I'm going to have to deal with wildlife, and I'm totally okay with that. We have a fence around the property, but it only does so much, and there's deer. My kids saw a porcupine yesterday, which was kind of cool. I've never seen one out here in my life. But you have to deal with the animals. That's just part of life. But you also have to deal with the fact that you're going to have nature in your face. Now, these are just obvious things, but so people like to move out to places and then try to make the land compromise for them. So a group of homeowners up on a hill, a mountain in, I don't recall the city, it's Issaquah, Washington. And there's a big mountain, kind of like the ones I was just showing. And these mountains have, this is where the wealthy people like to move up and build their houses. I just watched this news clip about, apparently somebody was like, there was these huge, full-size trees sliding down the mountain. And somebody filmed one like sliding like 50 feet past their house. And they're like, what the hell's going on? So they found out after some sleuthing that the neighbors up on top of the hill had decided that they wanted a better view of the valley. But all of these pesky trees were in their way. And these trees were on state, state forest property, state forest. So what they did was, apparently the homeowners got together and they paid these guys, I mean, from what I read, millions, I'm not sure the exact amount, to cut down over 140 trees that were in the way, to either disease and kill or to cut down 140 trees that were in the way of their beautiful view. And I thought to myself, you moved into this place knowing what your view was. Just the audacity of people to cut down giant standing trees that are older than the people, just so they can get a little better view when they sit out on their deck. It's just creepy to me. Just creepy how people act, the behaviors people have, the entitlement that people have, right? So what do, right? You got to deal with people. Now that I have a little more energy, I can walk up a little further. I don't know how far I'll go, but all I know is one thing. If I'm going uphill, that's a good sign, because it means that I get to go downhill on the way back. So I went up yesterday. I decided to take a day off and rest. because I've been, moving into my new house. I just wanted one full day at home. And my thought is, if I rest up, and mind you, friends, you have to rest. I know there's a lot of guys out there who just want to be go, go, go and never stop. And hey, good for you if you're one of those people. But burnout is real, And it's not just like over a period of weeks, months, or years. It can be within a couple days. You just give your body time to rest, right? Just like after a workout. Well, I couldn't do it. I got up in the morning and I was like, there's so much to do here. So I went out and I hacked away all the blackberry bushes down to the fence line. Then I ended up cutting across through the forest on my property because it's 3 acres, but about 1.5 acres is like field and the house area. And then there's about 1.5 acres of forest. And there's no trails in the forest. It's just overgrown, just woods. And so I really plowed through there and made myself a trail around the whole thing. Check this out. Turn the camera around again. Good morning, sunshine. Just love it. I guess I'm just rambling, but you know what? That's what I've always done on this channel, so looks like I'm coming to another bend. Find a little area to chill off to the side and then have a morning chill. Thanks for coming along. I'll talk to y'all next time. This has been Carpo's homestead journey, day 3.